Your opponent, and I interviewed her earlier, Carly Fiorina, she says basically this charge about you, and you've heard it from her directly, that you're simply a career politician who has no experience in the real world creating jobs. I'll play this little clip, what she told me.
Sure. Where has Barbara Boxer been for the last 6 years, the last 12 years, the last 18 years, the last 28 years that she's been in Washington, D.C.? Where has she been? Where she's been is voting for more taxes, voting for more borrowing and spending.
All right, your chance to respond to her.
Well, she's just wrong on that. I voted for over $2 trillion of tax cuts. The largest one was in the stimulus bill. But I have to say, she talks about 12 years. Look, I was there in 1992, and I supported Bill Clinton. And we know that in that period of time, those budgets that I voted for and those economic policies created 23 million jobs, the best in modern history. That's the fact. And we not only balanced the budget, we created surpluses. Then you had George W. come in, George W. Bush come in, and in about, a few minutes, it felt like, we saw those surpluses disappear. We saw a horrible record of job creation, the worst since the Great Depression, only 1 million new jobs. And at the end of the Bush term, 700,000 jobs a month bleeding. So she's just wrong. And
when you say,
she
Senator,
acts as if I didn't get I got elected. I got elected all those times.
Well,
and I'm hoping to get elected this time.
But when you say you supported $2 trillion in tax cuts during the stimulus?
Tax cuts. Yes, I have them. During my career.
Oh, during your career. I thought you just said during the stimulus. Yes. When you said you supported $2 trillion.
$1.2 trillion with a stimulus.
There was a $1.2 trillion in tax cuts in the stimulus?
There was a lot. Well, I will put it this way. Over time, that's what it will be when you figure all the tax cuts over time. And what we did for the senior citizens, giving them back those refunds. So there was a lot. Actually, a third of the stim was direct tax cuts.
Yeah, but that would be maybe $200 or $300 million. We're not talking about a trillion.
So let me say this. A third of the stim, and over my time, let me correct it, you're right. Thank you. $2.2 trillion I voted in tax cuts, $1.2 trillion of which became law. A third of the stim was tax cuts, and it was considered the biggest tax cut in history over a couple-year period.
Generations from now, we will be able to look back and tell our children that this was the moment when we began to provide care for the sick and good jobs for the jobless. This was the moment when the rise of the ocean began to slow and our planet began to heal. This was the moment when we ended the war and secured our nation and restored our image as the